The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Andrew McCarthy is a former federal prosecutor, best known for putting away the terrorists behind the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, and he just wrote a column for National Review Online talking about the president's broken promises and coming right out in this piece, Andy, and saying that Barack Obama is guilty of fraud, serial fraud.
Right. Serial fraud.
Explain it.
Far more serious than people who routinely get prosecuted by the Justice Department. Just the lie about if you like your plan, you can keep your plan, which basically just scratches the surface of the fraud here, was repeated systematically and numerous times, years after we can prove that he knew what he was saying was not true. We have millions of victims. There'll be untold billions of losses here. And if you look at what the U.S. Attorney's guidelines say about prosecuting fraud cases, they talk about frauds of big classes of people, like people who are in the market for purchasing insurance on your own rather than getting it through your work, or frauds on the entire American people. And if ever there has been a fraud on the entire American people, it's this one. And I would say, Megan, this business about you want your plan, you keep your plan, is just the beginning of it. Remember, he promised premiums would go down $2,500. Premiums are skyrocketing everywhere. They knew that. He told the American people there would be no taxes. He actually scolded George Stephanopoulos for suggesting that Obamacare was a tax. And then his lawyers went into the Supreme Court and argued that the plan should be upheld because it's a tax.
Successfully argued.
Right. So we're not talking about, we're talking about serial fraud on multiple levels and multiple different misrepresentations.
If this were the CEO of an insurance company who had gone out there and done this with the American people, what would you have done as a former federal prosecutor?
Oh, well, he'd be prosecuted in a heartbeat. And the Justice Department prosecutes for, frauds that are a lot more oblique than this one is. I mean, this one is a pretty in-your-face, almost crude fraud if you think about the misrepresentations.
Because you can prosecute somebody for a material misstatement, you can also prosecute them for a material omission. So if there was something he should have disclosed but didn't. But this is all an exercise in just, theoretical discussion, because nobody's going to indict the President of the United States. What is the remedy? If people believe, as these polls tonight suggest they do, that they've been intentionally lied to by the President of the United States, what is the remedy? Well,
look, the remedy the framers gave us for reining in executive excess, especially if it gets this abusive, is impeachment. Now, impeachment is a political remedy. It's not a legal remedy. So even if you can prove high crimes and misdemeanors, and I don't think there'd be any problem actually proving them, it doesn't even make sense to have that discussion until there's a political appetite in the country to actually remove the president. I don't think we're anywhere close to there at this point. However, this is a big, scandalous scheme. And the more you look at it, the more systematic dishonesty is just rife all the way through it.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.